Let's see. So hi everyone, we will start in, just wait for a few more to join, so a minute or so. Yes. So I think we can start. Just want to start by welcoming you all to this webinar. And just some things before we start, that if you have any questions, please write them in the chat function, go to webinar. And in the end, of course, you can ask them as well. But if you have any questions, just ask them there. We will contact all of you afterwards. So if you have more in-depth questions that you want to discuss, we will, of course, contact you with those. And during the webinar, you will be you will all be muted while we talk. And the agenda for today's session is, of course, we will introduce ourselves and the partnership between Pagero and Wyre Solutions. We will also, of course, go through the solution and what Pagero offers and what we have done together with IFS. And then dig into more details of when it comes to automate and digitize your accounts payable and accounts receivable. And of course, a Q&A in the end. And we who are speaking today, I will start with myself here and then let Paul and Ashley introduce themselves. So my name is Kristin Hane and I work as a global partner manager at Pagero. I've been with Pagero for 12 years now, and I've had various roles, both from the technical side as pre-sales, but also commercial and delivery, such as project manager. And I've been responsible for our partnership with IFS and the IFS ecosystem for 5 or 6 years now, I think. So any questions, just let me know. I hand it over to you guys.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking your time to join the webinar this morning. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Paul Maybury. I'm Chief Executive Officer of Wyre Solutions. Wyre was founded in 2011 by myself with a view to providing cost-effective, high-quality consulting resources. We started primarily as a technical consultancy, and over the years, as business grew and the more customers we got involved with, the bigger the customer, the bigger the projects, our consulting team grew into a complete all-round consulting team. We are based out of the UK, headquartered in Starport, Worcestershire. We have an office in the USA as well. We service approximately 52 customers on a global scale with offices all around the world. Our business is primarily 50% consulting and 50% support services. So what we get involved with, we'll get involved with anything from implementations and upgrades, whether that be from a project initiation all the way through to customers that are already live and they're already using IFS, and that can be implementing a new module for them, or making some changes, getting involved with some interfaces, or simple report writing, cleanup, things like that really. The other half of our business is support based. We actively service customers on a global scale, and we can get involved with anything from a tier 1 password reset all the way up to liaising with IFS with the LCS and raising G cases, and getting those tested and then implemented back into the customer's live environment. We complement our service with DBA as well, and we really do have a full complete service that we offer. Ashley, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Paul. Hi there, my name is Ashley Angel. I am a technical consultant here at Wyre Solutions. I've been at the company for just over 3 years now, primarily specialising in the technical aspects of IFS, as Paul mentions, interfaces, reports and customizations. I'm joining Paul here and Kristen here today to answer any IFS related queries you may have. Back over to you, Kristen.
Yes, thank you. Great. So I will just get things going here again. Let's see. There we go. So Wyre Solutions and Pagero, we have entered a partnership agreement. So the idea for us is to give you, of course, the best of services, where, as I will explain, where Pagero has a solution that is developed for and together with IFS. This is something that Wyre Solution through our partnership now can offer you as well. And also always when you're connecting IFS to another system such as Pagero, you need of course consultants to do integration and configuration of IFS, and that's where Wyre Solutions are experts in doing so. So we are really looking forward to this partnership, and what I will explain now about Pagero is everything you can utilize through this partnership. But now the focus will be to explain more about Pagero, who we are, what do we solve, how does the solution look like, and so on. So I will just start to explain about Pagero, and we are from the beginning a Nordic-based company. We started in Sweden for some years back now, and in Sweden is also where I am right now, so I'm working at our head office, even though during this COVID period I'm working from home, as all of you, I suppose. And since the past 10 years, I would say, we have gone from being a Swedish and then a Nordic, and now we are actually a global company with 22 local offices in about 20 countries out there. So as you see on this map, we have offices from US to Australia, and we are constantly growing. The idea for this year, of course, was to open up in even more countries. Hopefully we can continue that journey next year, if this COVID thing will go away. We are about 400 employees as we speak, so the majority of us are of course in the head office in Sweden, but we have part of our, I would say half of our developers are also in Sri Lanka, and we have of course sales offices in all those dots here where you see the offices, but some of them also have more delivery people or some developers on their own, or in Madrid, we have a lot of our, I would say half our support team and also half our in-house sales team. And they also cover a 24-hour support service from Madrid. We have about 45,000 customers. And if you would only look at IFS as an ERP system, that sounds like very many customers, since IFS themselves do not have that many customers. But as I will explain, this solution is for all businesses. So no matter what ERP system they are using, how small or large the company is, they can use the same platform. So some of those 45,000 customers are really big tier 1 customers like Johnson & Johnson or Hewlett Packard, and some of them could be kind of like the bakery on the corner. So the solution is for everyone, since everyone is doing business with a company no matter what size they are. They are all dependent on each other. I want to emphasize here, you see we have written out here that we have like 150,000 and more hours that we spend on R&D every year, and it's important to understand that we are a product-based company, so we are focusing on SaaS, software as a service. So we spend a lot of hours to make sure that the platform is up to date and is modern and following all the regulations out there and new techniques or whatever. So that's a little bit about just the structure of the company. And I guess most of you that are listening today are in UK, and we have an office in London and a small sales office outside of Manchester. So we are, I think we're around 10 people in UK right now. And the vision that Pagero has is that we want to be the largest open business network. And a little bit what I've already mentioned is that we want everyone to be able to connect to each other, depending on, it shouldn't depend on where you are in the world or what size the business have. You should always be able to connect to your trading partners and make business processes more easy. You want to make it easy so you can focus on what you should do, not on how to comply with regulations and make sure that your business processes fulfills other requirements. So this is our goal. It should be easy. It should not depend on where you are or in what industry you are or what size you are. Sorry. And sorry, just need some water here. And just to explain on a very high level how the solution works, we're looking at this picture down here. So the idea with Pagero is, you can call it kind of a modernized EDI if you are familiar with that word. So the idea is here that you can make one EDI connection. Here you are working in IFS, you connect once to Pagero, and we make sure to connect your suppliers or your customers to you. But you just need to focus on your connection to Pagero, and we take care of the suppliers and customers. And we do this, we say that we are format independent, but I would say that we are ERP independent. So, I mean, your suppliers or customers, they probably, maybe one or two of them are using IFS, but not all of them. So you could have trading partners that use SAP, Sage, Oracle, small self-build systems, or it could be a cloud-based finance system because they are very, very small or whatever. But our idea is that you could use anything and still connect. And up here it says format independent, and that means that all systems are using some kind of format. It's an output or an input with the data that they need for their system. And we have a whole department that only works with different kinds of format. A format, even though it's not a structured format, could be an PDF as well, if that's what your system is creating. But for you that knows a little bit more of formats, I mean, it could be an EDFACT format, it could be an XML format, for example. In IFS, they use XML format, so it's an IFS-specific XML format that Pagero supports and that we have helped to create. It's also very important to focus on data accuracy. I mean, it's important that the data that you have is accurate and that you get all the information visible even on the line level, so you don't just get header information. So in the Pagero solution, you will always get all data on line level as well as standard. And also the reach, as I've already said, it's a global solution. So we have a global reach. We have customers in more than 100 countries today. So we don't need to have an office where we have our customers. IFS themselves are using Pagero in 45 countries now, I think. And not only are we global, but we're also focusing on the local compliance. So it's one thing to be global and say, oh, we have a platform that suits the whole world, but it's important to understand that in each and every country there are different rules that we need to comply with. And of course, to see all your data in real time. So maybe you are operating on different instances of IFS, or maybe you are using more ERP systems than IFS. Maybe you have acquired companies that are using other ERP systems and so on. You can still use all of them, and you can still see the real-time visibility in Pagero if you want to. Let's see. Here we go. So this is just to give you an idea of the different messages that we support in Pagero. So we are supporting the processes purchase to pay and order to cash. And we support everything from an order down to an invoice, basically. You also see payment here. I will not talk about payment today, but we have solutions that we have for payment as well. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me and we can take it from there. But we support orders in both directions and of course order confirmation, delivery notes and so on. These are the documents that we support today. Depending on customer requirements, we are constantly adding documents here. When it comes to the order-related messages, they can differ some depending on industries, and that's also what kind of documents that is important for that industry when it comes to order. So we always do a workshop and figure out your exact needs when it comes to order. But we have a lot of IFS customers running it in different ways. So maybe they have just chosen to do one of those message types or all of them. You can always just begin with some of them. Today, when I continue this presentation, I will focus on the invoice part, but you get an understanding that you can do the same things with the other message types here as well. Its invoices are more standardized. It's a lot of focus on IFS today, even though I mentioned that we work with all ERP systems. However, we have had a partnership with IFS for many years, and we have developed the solution together with IFS R&D. So there are about 150 clients that uses Pagero with IFS applications today. And the solution is pre-packaged for for IFS. So of course it needs to be integrated and configured, but it is there waiting to be configured, so to say. And it's also support attachment handling, so you can send attachments with your invoices and you can also receive them. And the solution is maintained by both us and IFS. So I have regular meetings with IFS R&D team. So if there are anything that we find or so, then I will take that up on our meetings if there are any issues. And we have also, together with IFS, developed solutions for countries that have had specific requirements, such as Italy, where everything is done in a very specific way. Then we have had meetings with IFS and they have developed a patch. So there is like an Italy extension to IFS that is ready to get from IFS. So that's how we work continuously and all the time to make sure that we have a good solution together. So the idea is that you do the day-to-day business in IFS, and Pagero is kind of the mailman that picks up the file and send it to a receiver or deliver the file. However, it's a little bit more complicated and advanced in the back end than just sending a letter. So why should you talk to Pagero? If we look at the supplier side, if you are looking into sending invoices, for example, then, I mean, you probably are looking for a way to automate. Maybe you are sitting in different supplier portals to your customers and creating your invoices manually, and you're constantly adding new portals and credentials that you need for that portals in order to send your invoices or downloading your orders. So talk to Pagero to find a way to automate that. And also, if you are trying to fulfill those different regulatory invoice requirements or EDI requirements in various countries, you can also find us to help to standardize that process globally. Or also, of course, just to make everything automated from an EDI perspective as well. And if you're a buyer and you, of course, maybe want to reduce the papers and go digital, get rid of putting time on opening envelopes or scan or do things yourselves, and you want to outsource this and go fully digital and put your time to maybe verify data or something instead. Maybe you want to get a better control of who you are buying for, and if you're buying from the right vendor, and if you're actually following the agreements that you have with your supplier, and put focus on to analyze the data. And to get into more solutions, now I have divided it to talk about first inbound invoices or your accounts payable process. And then I will move over to the outbound invoices and the accounts receivable process. So just a very old slide. I think we have used this for all the years I've been working at Pagero, but of course maybe better graphics. But it's still the same. What are we really trying to achieve? We want to get rid of manual document flows really and exchange it to an electronic flow. And you want to be digital. You want to automate your processes. You want to get rid of paper, not only, even though it's a very good cause to do it from an environmental perspective, but more from a cost-saving perspective, I would say. So, I mean, just to go through it, of course, the manual step, if you are receiving or sending, of course, an invoice in this case, Then the sender will create the invoice in their system. They will print it on the printer, put it in an envelope. A postman or mail courier is picking up the envelope and shipping it or driving it to the receiver, which will receive it. They will open it, put up the paper, put it in a scanner, maybe even doing it manually, but if they have come some way, they have put it in a scanner and then they enter it into the system. And it's a lot of manual handling, and it's very easy that you get errors and so on. And if this postman is not delivering, then you will not get the invoice. You will it will be a long time before you can pay your supplier and so on. So the idea is to make everything digital. So the sender just sends it digital and you will receive it a few seconds later. And then you have, of course, a faster cycle time, and you can the supplier can get their money faster and so on. And the way that Pagero has solved it, and this is of course an IFS example, is that for now I'm pointing with my pen here, you can't see that. So I use this instead. So the idea is that you do this connection once between IFS and Pagero. So you decide to receive the invoices into IFS. We have a preset XML format between IFS and Pagero, and the connection here is made with an SFTP, which is a secure file transfer. You will get the PDF of the invoice as well, so you can see a human readable PDF of the invoice, and you will also get if there are any additional attachments to it. So that's the setup. In this way, you can start receiving your invoices. However, of course, we need to get the suppliers to actually send them. So the supplier have various options. I will start down here. So maybe they can send an electronic invoice themselves. Then they will do it. Either if they're already using Pagero, they send it through Pagero. If they are using another service provider, such as Pagero, one competitor of ours, we are working with something that's called interoperability agreements, so we can still connect suppliers using another operator through those agreements. So we're not forcing the suppliers to use Pagero. They can use any existing solution that they have today. And we connect them so they start sending. If the supplier do not have a solution today, and they do not want to buy a solution, maybe they're a very small supplier, then it's possible for them to use a free web portal from Pagero. So it's for free, where they manually enter the invoices. And this portal they could use for other customers as well. So it's not customer specific, and they can use it for free. If they do not want to do that, it's possible for them to email their PDF. And then Pagero has an outsourced like OCR scanning function. So basically the invoice is received at our team, and we will do the capturing of the invoice. But for the supplier, they are still sending a PDF with an email, but we make sure that you will still get it in the exact same format that you do with all your invoices. You will get it as an XML. And I mentioned before, we will capture the line levels as well, so you will get everything on the invoice together, of course, with this original PDF presentation that you might want to store or have a look at. But so that's a solution for those that do not want to send that. On top of this, of course, we can have some extra spend analytics. I will not go through them today, but we have a function where you can work with the data or see the data. You could also get a report where you use your own BI tool to do cool stuff with the data, but especially to see your spend and who has bought the most articles and so on. There is an e-archive, so you can store all the invoices for as long as your local requirements states. And we will store both the sending format, the receiving format, and our transformation in between. On top of this, we can help to make sure the data quality is better by validate information. Is there a PO number? Do you have to have a PO number? We can check it, and we can check it to just see if there is a PO number. We can also check it towards the syntax. We can also add information. For example, in IFS, you need a buyer's reference, and the supplier normally states the buyer's reference with a name like Christine Hane, and in IFS does not know who that is, so they need to have KRH instead, which is the code for Christine in IFS. So we can change that. So we kind of clean the data before you do the matching and authorization in IFS. So all the matching and authorization and so on is done in IFS. We can clean it or help with some bits before we send it in. Yeah, some other stuff. And when we start a project like this, as I said, we start to set up the connection, the technical connection to you, and to help your suppliers to start sending. Because now I have discussed the different options they have to send, but we kind of really want to push them to start sending as well. So normally we do a supplier activation with a customer. And so you would get a project manager from Pagero, and then normally we create a letter together, send to the suppliers, and when they have got this letter, we have an in-house contact center. So they will start contacting the suppliers, calling them, asking them, have you seen this letter? We would like to inform you about this customer's need of starting to go digital. And then they would help them. They would advise them in what solution they should pick. And if they already have a solution today, fine, then use that one. Or otherwise guide them into helping them connect. So this team's goal is to have you receiving as much electronic invoices as possible. It's not their goal to sell Pagero, so it's to get as much connection to you. And just to give you an idea how that letter would look, and we would also create a project landing page where you can have your suppliers go in and look. They could get demos or guides how to use the free portal, for example. They can see if they need to consider anything particular before they send the invoices to you. They could also, of course, see contact details to both us and you. If we go the other way around, where you need to start sending electronic invoices, this is how you've probably been doing before going digital. Again, the same picture. You print your invoices and it's being delivered as a paper to a receiver, and they enter it manually or scan it or so. Simple as that. That's how it used to be. When you're going digital, there are a few more things to consider. Some countries have a regulatory invoicing, so it's approved by the government maybe, or you have to follow a governmental infrastructure. That might only apply for business to government invoices. And maybe there is another model if you're doing business to business invoices. So you have to think, is it regulatory or is it non-regulatory invoices? And also maybe you still have receivers that need to receive invoices by paper or by PDF. And some countries also needs that you send certain reports, or you yourself need to have reports between your companies. So there are some more information to consider when sending invoices. And these are kind of hard to keep track on as a company when your focus is to do other kinds of business and all these different requirements, and they are just increasing in the different countries. So this is just a global overview. I will not go through this in detail, but it's just to give you an idea that a lot of countries have decided a way of implementing electronic invoices. Some countries, such as Italy, for example, have mandated all invoices to go digital, no matter if it's to the government or if it's business to business. Other countries have chosen to just do it to governmental hubs, or it doesn't have to be a hub. Maybe they just have said that everything that goes to public sector needs to be electronic. In UK, for example, there is a mandate, but only for NHS, that NHS should send orders electronically and receive the order responses and invoices electronically. And normally when it starts like that in a country that a government states it, normally that drives the business to business as well. And you see here, I mean, we can have a whole separate 2-hour session or more just about the different models and the different ways that countries have chosen. So you have like a post audit when you just go ahead sending all the invoices and then you do the audit afterwards. And then you have, for example, clearance, where it needs to be cleared by the government before it's sent to a receiver. And in that case, you need to be connected to a governmental hub that kind of says, okay, this invoice is okay, you would get a receipt back that it is okay, and at the same time it's sent maybe to a receiver. So there are many, many ways, and I don't want to confuse you with a picture, but I want to ensure you that the idea with Pagero when it comes to compliance and AR is that you should do your business as usual. And as long as the content is there, Pagero takes care of those different infrastructures and follow the local regulations. We have a whole team that we call regulatory affairs that only focusing on Pagero staying compliant in those regions where they have chosen a way of being compliant, basically. So we have created a lot of country compliance report. And if you're interested in any specific country, just let me know and you can have those reports. They are not out there officially, but you can always ask and we will send it to you. And it's not just to how do you connect to a government or not, it's also how are you compliant in a country when it comes to archiving, for example. Some countries requires a digital signature when you're sending cross-border invoices, and we have an on-demand service for that as well. So you can come to us and we will help you, but this is one of our focus areas. And also, of course, as I mentioned before, maybe you have a lot of different portals that you have to use to send invoices to your customers, or that you have a lot of point-to-point EDI to different customers that using other ERP systems. All of this, the idea is that you could reduce by using us, so that you can send all your invoices in the same way. Of course, there could always be exceptions that we are trying to of course minimize, but the idea is that you could use us to send everything as one EDI connection. Just last thing here from me. So it's kind of a reversed picture of the one that I showed you before when you receive invoices. So the idea when you're sending invoices with Pagero is that you do this one EDI connection. From IFS, you will send the IFS XML format together with attachment or your human readable PDF to Pagero. And then we take care of the distribution of the invoices. So either either your customer is using Pagero to receive invoices, then we just connect them. Maybe they are using an own like EDI solution today, so we connect to that one. Maybe they are using another service provider like Basware, Tradeshift, Tungsten maybe. Then we have this interoperability agreement with them as well, so we can send the invoice and do kind of a routing or a roaming to those customers as well. Peppol, you probably heard of, is an infrastructure that EU started with. And if you hear Peppol, you should always know that Pagero is an access point in Peppol. So we always comply where Peppol exists, and we are live in all the countries that have chosen Peppol as their infrastructure. If the customer still do not want to receive anything electronically, we have solutions where they can get a PDF in an email, and we can also print invoices. So there is a possibility. And of course, all those governmental hubs or clearance model that we connect to today, we can of course connect to those and send to the governments as well. Yes, so the idea here as well is that you just send everything to Pagero and we can distribute them. You can of course choose to just send the ones that you know can receive electronic invoices. But the idea here is if you send everything, we take care of everything here. And also the ones that will start to receive a paper or a PDF in an email, you have a tool here so you can convert them to electronic invoices, and that would benefit you due to the price per transaction, of course, is lower, and then you will get the better control as well if you send it electronically. I can go on forever. I would be happy to, but I will stop there due to the time today, and hopefully I've given you a teaser. We can do more than this, but this is to give you an idea of where you can ask us about our services or what you want to do or so on. So let's see if we have any questions. I have not been able to look myself, but I can start by a very commonly asked question, which of course is about the price model. From the Pagero part, you of course have the modules and so in IFS, and Wyre Solution can answer their part as the integration. But from a Pagero point of view, the price model is that you pay a license fee for the service. It's based on the number of legal entities that you're using. And on top of that, of course, you have a one-time cost for the integration. It's not a huge project or so. And after that, it's per transaction sent or received. That's the Pagero price model.
Just to quickly jump in there and answer from a Wyre Solutions point of view, for us, our price model on this is purely based on consulting time. As Kristen said, it's not a huge project. The setup of Pagero into IFS does not take too long at all. So cost-wise, it's relatively low. For our support customers, we would look to try and build this into the support proposal. And for any customers that aren't support based, then we would look to pull a support package together for you to maintain this going forwards and assist at any point in time that you need us.
Thank you, Paul. Any other questions?
Got a few specific ones here, Kristen, that have been asked in the chat, so I'll just quickly go through those ones.
Great.
Someone asked, how do I view Pagero invoices in IFS? As you may expect for invoicing, they are available on the standard screens. You wouldn't need to go to a custom screen or a hidden area within the application. It would be visible on those customers and supplier invoices screens that you currently use. In contrast to that, as you may have seen from some of the previous slides, Pagero does have the capabilities of sending other messages, for example, customer invoice orders, outgoing purchase orders, dispatch advice. IFS have catered for those, and they have a series of screens that are typically prefixed with incoming or outgoing, and they can be used as part of the EDI messaging process to approve and track and have that traceability over what's inbound and outbound from Pagero. Another question we had was regarding invoices and matching them with purchase orders. So that can be done automatically, providing you utilize the IFS purchasing module. Each invoice line can be automatically matched with its corresponding purchase order and received deliveries. So the short answer to that one is yes. And then we had two specific ones around posting proposals and automating the posting proposals, as well as those costing lines, as well as automatically authorizing them. So the answer to both those questions in short is yes. The invoice postings can be automated. If a purchase order is below that, you could have set up the pre-postings on either the requisition or the purchase order. We can pull those postings through to the invoices posting proposals, and that's all complete for you. And then in regards to the authorization, that can also be automated for as long as the invoice amount are within the matching tolerance and the purchase order is authorized. And what will happen there is the authorizer for the purchase order will be pulled through to the posting proposal, and that would be authorized and finally posted for you automatically. So in summary, that supply invoice workflow can be automated up to the payment stage. And as Kristen's previously mentioned, they do have solutions for the payment side too. But that covers the questions that I see in the chat for all the IFS queries. But if there are any that we have missed, we will be sure to reach out to you via email.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen.
Great. So if no more questions, then thank you again for attending today. We're looking forward to contact you after this session. And yeah, have a great day and talk to you again.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you all.